May I just be honest with you? Uh, this won't come as a surprise, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna put it out there. People are afraid of commitment. You say, "Well, Jason, I would argue that some of the people that I know are not." But let's just unpack this idea. People can be afraid of commitment, and honestly, for some valid reasons, especially when the church is asking for a commitment. Did you know that volunteers have concerns as it relates to saying yes to volunteering? I mean, think about it this way. A volunteer wants to know, is this worth my time? Is what I'm about to say yes to, is it worth my effort and energy? Or maybe they're brand new to the church and brand new to volunteering, and they're going to have to actually recreate their rhythm as it relates to weekends or Saturdays only or Sundays. Is it worth it? And these are questions that we have to help them answer. But how do we do that? I mean, can we make their yes to the team a little bit easier to make? That doesn't mean we dumb it down. Doesn't mean that we devalue it and we simplify it. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, what if we created low risk entry points? In other words, when we're asking them to say yes, we're creating an easier on-ramp for them to say yes to. I mean, look, I've worked in the church for 20, 25 years. Sometimes figuring out how to join a team or who to talk to or getting them to follow up, not that anybody would ever do that if you're watching this, is tough. But what if it didn't have to be that way? I mean, what if we created these like risk-free trials? You've seen these commercials on TV, right? I mean, I think about the mattress I bought. It was a 100-day risk-free trial. I had nothing to lose. You could buy a car now, 7-day risk-free trial, send it back. I mean, you could almost do that with everything. But sometimes in the church, it's like they're signing up for eternity. And it's hard. It doesn't have to be that way. So, what I would love for you to consider are low-risk entry points, maybe these risk-free trials. What if we let them try out being a volunteer before committing to volunteering? You say, well, that's more work and I got to figure that out. Well, welcome to ministry. It's what we're supposed to do. Remember, our ministry is to the volunteer. And so we have to create the best place for them to try things out. Now, I'm not saying we reduce the commitment level, but I am saying on the beginning, we make it a little easier to say yes to, and then we grow it. It's not like we're surprising them on the back end, but sometimes we try to ask them for a life commitment on the front end. It's not necessary. And so what would it look like, because we value their time, to create low-risk entry points, right? So as we think about, saying yes to things, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, we talk about onboarding, but we also talk about like offboarding. So if I try something, but it's not for me, who do I talk to? Maybe if I just disappear, they'll never know. That is actually what happens a lot of the time. So why does it have to be that way? Would you consider creating an onboarding process for the uniqueness of each person? You say, well, Jason, I can't craft a process for every type of person. But what if you had a general process, but then there were some personalization or customization that could help based on their experience or, what they can offer, right? Maybe they are a volunteer with greater spiritual depth, so you don't have to talk to them about the impact as much. Or maybe they used to be a church staff member, and now they attend your church and they're a volunteer, so they get it. So those are the personalization and customization pieces I'm referencing. Think about what you could do to evaluate volunteers in the very beginning. So you create these low-risk entry points, kind of a risk-free trial. Maybe it's a 30-day, maybe it's a 90-day. You want them to get enough reps underneath them to make a wise decision. But you know what? You could even do a 90-day evaluation to see how y'all fit as a ministry partner. I mean, there's some questions you could ask. Like, how do you feel about the level of communication sent your way as a new volunteer? What encouraged you to begin volunteering? What was most helpful to you as a new volunteer on the team? What is one thing you would change about your experience after you've been here a few times as a volunteer? And did you feel set up well? Did you feel supported in your role on your team? You see, When we create low risk entry points, when we reduce the yes in the beginning, we actually might see more of a yes in the days and weeks and months to come because people are used to this type of offer. Again, you're not oversimplifying, you're not devaluing, you're not going to surprise them later with a huge commitment, but you're just making your ask of them easier to say yes to so they can try it. And if your ministry is awesome and helpful and rewarding and fun and build community, then they're going to want to stay around.